One of the hardest parts of being a high performance man who is successful in his business or career is having a lack of purpose. For me, some of my most successful months in business where I made the most money, I felt the most worthless as a man, and I felt like there was no point to it all. When my marriage ended, I thought, what's the point? What am I doing this for? And so many of us, so many men don't know the reason why they are here. Yes, we can be a husband. Yes, we can be a father. Yes, we can have direction in business or our career. But what happens when you're not in those roles? Who are you besides a husband, father, business owner, or career-driven man? For a lot of us, we don't know the answer. So if you're a man who wants to find his purpose, if you want direction in your life, if you want to stop feeling lost and confused, or if you just want to become better in all those areas I just mentioned, then in today's Empowered Man podcast episode, we're going to walk you through exactly how you can find your purpose as a modern day man. This is going to help you in your health, wealth, and relationships, and it's going to give you clarity on a compelling vision to pull you forward in line with your values and what you want in life. So strap in, enjoy this episode of the Empowered Man podcast. And as always, if you get value, make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Strap on in, enjoy. How to find your purpose as a modern day man. What a title, huh? Is it clickbaity when we have a title like that? What do you think?
I think it is, yeah.
But it's true, because how many men feel like directionless or purposeless? I was on the Full Stack Business Owner podcast yesterday. It's a pretty big podcast here in Australia, about 10,000 downloads a month. So make sure you guys Google it after this, Full Stack Business Owner. And we were talking about one of our clients, Michael, who does $60 million a year in his business. We've talked about him before on the podcast. And when he came to us, the most common thoughts going through his head were, what's the point of this all? I don't know why I'm working so hard. I'm going to lose my marriage anyway. And I don't know what the point is. What's the point? What's my purpose? Why am I even doing this? How many successful men feel that way? They're constantly chasing more, and they feel empty inside at the end of it. There's so many ways we can frame a lack of purpose. What are the ways? There's been lost. What else is there? It's been lost. No direction.
Yeah, I feel like as well, for so many men, they're just existing. They're doing something that once lit them up, like Michael, a long time ago, it lit him up and he was really excited and motivated and energized by it. But he's come to this point of going through the reps, the motions, and he's just existing.
Yeah.
And I frame existing as, we're not living. So existing means we're just waiting to die. We're just going through the reps and waiting to die.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's a really
100%.
scary place to be in, yeah.
100%. It's terrifying. It's terrifying. I remember when I wanted to kill myself. I was so depressed last year in my business, and I'd achieved all my goals. I had multiple 100K months. We were a 7-figure business. I had my daughter born. We bought 4 investment properties, and people might be listening to this going what are you complaining about? I had lost my direction and my purpose. I'd achieved my goals. I didn't set a new vision, and I started existing, just doing the reps, the same shit every day, Groundhog Day, get up, go to work, make some money, come home, get up, go to work. And I lost myself. I lost my purpose. And I thought, what's the point of it all? And I didn't want to share that with anyone because it was embarrassing. And I thought I'd get judged complaining about the fact that I didn't feel good about myself. And it led to the point where I thought maybe I shouldn't be here anymore. And I considered ending my life, which brought with it a huge amount of guilt because I had a daughter and a wife. This happens to so many men. You might want to turn that off. This happens to so many men. We exist, and instead of living and thriving, so many men are surviving. They're surviving in their business. They're surviving in their relationships. They're surviving with their health, and it all comes back to this idea of purpose. So what we're going to talk about today is setting the vision. We're going to talk about 3 steps you can take, simple steps, to find your purpose as a man, as a husband, as a father, as a business owner, as a career-driven man. The truth is, as a man, you've got to have a purpose. You've got to have a direction to go into. And if you don't, it does not matter how successful you are, there will be cracks that begin to appear. Because as men, our job is expansion. This is why wars happen. This is why we grow businesses. This is why the world is so developed. Nothing against women. Men created that. Men also created a lot of problems, but the purpose was expansion. If that's our only purpose, though, and we continuously expand without having a vision in health, relationships, and wealth, so many men break down and they feel like they don't know what the point is. They feel lost. They feel confused. They feel like they're stuck in Groundhog Day.
Mm.
So today it's what we'll talk about. We'll talk about the first step, which is crafting a vision. Before we do that though, what are the feelings and thoughts that go through a man's mind when he feels lost? What are the patterns that they repeat? What was it like for you when you felt like that? What was the story you went through?
For me, it was this deep sense of emptiness and a huge disconnection from myself. And
Mm,
you get into those patterns of self-sabotage. For me, it was eating in excess. It was just like trying to get something to help me feel better. A lot of
mm,
men, drugs, alcohol, porn, gambling, all those things. For me, it was food. It was just like I just need something to give
mm,
me a sense of, or even a feeling, an emotion, something that's going to give me something right now. And
mm.
you know yeah, it's this emptiness, and being disconnected from ourselves. Like, it's such a common thing,
Yeah.
and that's what I felt every day. I was just getting out of bed
Mhm,
in survival mode, just scraping through, like getting up, getting to work, and it's like, what
mhm.
time, like, when do I knock off, when do I get home, when's the weekend, when's my holidays, and just in that mode of just scraping through.
Yeah.
And I remember getting to that point of going like, why am I doing this? I don't look forward to really to anything anymore.
That's the thing. There's nothing to look forward to.
Yeah.
Like there are three things that need to be present for a man to be suicidal. Obviously, this suicide can happen without it, but the first one is you believe it's pervasive. So you believe that it's every area of your life that is not working. Like it's everywhere. That's the framing. That's the language.
Yeah.
The second is that you believe it's personal. So it's because of you, or it's something to do with you that you can't change. This is a personal thing. Everything else can change. You can't change. And the third is that it's permanent. So you think that it's never going to end. And this is why men kill themselves so much, because it's permanent. I'm always going to feel depressed. It's personal. It's all because of me. I can't change it. And it's pervasive. It's every area of my life. And this is a lack of purpose. That's why men kill themselves.
Yeah.
It's because in that moment, we're so convinced of the story that our life is fucked and that we can't get through it, that we decide to take our life. And you and I have both had moments where we have thought about taking our life, and some maybe even been close to doing it, right? And it all comes back to this idea of vision. I
Mm.
remember a good friend of mine, John. He came into my house one day. He used to live. He was my neighbor. He'd walk across my hallway from one side to the other in our apartment. And he came in. He was so depressed, and he needed someone to talk to. He spent the entire 30 minutes we were talking telling me about all his problems. This is fucked. This isn't working. My relationship's not working. My partner doesn't love me. She doesn't understand me. Work's too stressful. And he just spent 35 minutes
Mm.
telling me all the things that were fucked up in his life. And when he finished, I said, "Is there anything else?" He said, "No." My response was, "Well, John, if I had that much stuff fucked up in my life, I'd want to kill myself too." Now, you're not meant to say that to someone who's suicidal, right? But most people who are suicidal are just depressed and focusing on the wrong shit. And he like looked at me like, "What?" That shocked him instantly. And I said, "Look, man, like you're focusing on all the negatives. What's your favorite food?" Now, when you're depressed and you have no purpose and you feel lost and you have that void within you, it's very hard to think. It's hard to get out
Mm.
of bed even. His
Yeah.
response was, "I don't know. What sort of question is that?" I was like, "Do you like pizza?" He's Italian. He loves pizza. He goes, "Of course I like pizza." I'm like, "Cool. So everything in your life is fucked except pizza." And he's like, "I don't get your point." I'm like, "Cool. Like, does your partner make you feel loved?" And he goes, "Well, sometimes." I'm like, "Cool. So everything's fucked in your life except pizza and your partner making you feel loved. Do you like orgasms?" He's like, "Of course I like orgasms." Cool. So everything's fucked in your life except pizza, orgasms. He started to see what I was doing, and he had three things now that he did have purpose for. The purpose of his life was like, orgasms are great. I love pizza. I love being loved. Now we've got some vision of what's possible, and it can't be pervasive anymore when you have that. Does that make sense?
Mm.
And I think that's the first thing we get to focus on is we've got to have a vision, right? Now, a lot of high performing and successful men, they have one vision, which is make money. And that's great. But they don't have any other vision when it comes to looking and feeling great. They have a vision in terms of what they think like a life should look like, but they don't attach feelings and emotions and experiences to that
Yeah.
vision. It's like, I want to make money so I can have freedom. Great. People want to have a six pack. They also eat fucking donuts and drink beer, right? What we want doesn't matter. It's the why behind it. It's the feeling behind it. And most men don't have a vision. If you want to be successful in any area of your life, you can't just say something. You got to have a really clear vision, a vision that pulls you towards it, right?
Mm, mm.
And we've noticed this with a lot of the guys that come to work with us. What is the one thing that connects every man who doesn't take action? Is they don't have clarity on a vision. Like, what do you see with our clients when this happens?
Mm. Oh, it's just that they're in existing mode. What's my
Yep.
vision? Like, oh, I mean, and the funny thing is, a lot of men come to us and they're like, oh, I've never actually even thought of that about that.
Yeah.
You're in
Yep.
high school and you think about what am I going to do for a career, and it's framed like that. I'm going to get married, and we should have kids, and we should buy the house, and we should do this.
Mm-hmm.
But and I ask this question on a daily with our clients: What do you want? What's the vision? And like, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. Yep. Or at surface level, it's like I want to be wealthy. I want to be successful. Of course you do. That's great. I'm not saying don't have those goals. But so many men struggle with having a vision because they're focused on what they don't want. I did this for years. Business is growing last year, making money, and I'm focusing on the fact that it's not fast enough. We used to run live events all across Australia. We'd have 100 men attend, 10 would join our program. You saw it at the end of those events. I'd go, we should have got more. And it's this constant chase of more. So this is the problem with vision, is we want to have something that pulls us towards it. But so many successful men, what they do is they are successful because they are constantly focused on what they don't want. So they do have a vision. It's like, I want to be successful. I want to make money. I want to provide for my family. I want to look good. I want to feel good. But to achieve that, what we're actually doing is we're focusing on what's not working all the time. So we're focusing on the fact that we don't have enough money. We're not at our vision. We're not achieving our goals. And so we're constantly focused on what we don't want, which raises our cortisol and stress levels.
Yeah.
Now, we did an episode on stress previously, but when your stress is high, it takes all the blood away from your organs, your brain, your penis, and it puts it into your fight or flight muscles so you can run away or fight, right? And when you are facing what you don't want, your vision is behind you. Now, you can still achieve goals if you're focusing on the problems and challenges in your life. A lot of men do this. We rely on that stress. We only change when our bank balance gets too low. That's when we start saving. We only start losing weight when we have a heart attack or we're too fat. We only fix our relationship when our wife leaves, right? But if you're facing what you don't want in pain all the time, what you want is behind you and you're like backstepping towards it.
Yeah.
Whereas if you can see that vision clearly, and it's so powerful that it compels you to come forward towards it, you can sprint towards that vision, and what you don't want is behind you.
Yeah.
Right. I noticed this with a friend of mine, Will, the other day. I called him and he told me all the things that aren't working in his life. And I'm like, bro, what's your vision? What do you want to achieve? What's your purpose? And he's like, starts talking about the negative things. I'm like, dude, you're not going to take any action and you're not going to get results if you can't clearly see something that gets you out of bed and makes you excited to achieve it. And you know what's the crazy thing about having a purpose as a man is when you are so clear on that vision, you don't have time to focus on the negatives because you're taking action towards it, which is one of the steps we're going to talk about later. So the first step is having a clear vision. What is the best way to do that? If you were to walk us through, like, how do you create a vision? How do you create clarity on that?
There's a lot of ways we can do it. I think vision shapes our choices. Like it shapes what we say yes and what we say no to. I think one of the first questions we get to ask ourselves, I do this regularly. I brain dump. I say, what do I want?
What do I want?
Plenty of ways I can frame it, but what do I want? And I just brain dump. And I allow myself to dream. And then, I feel like that question is a seed for us. When we get to ask ourselves that question, we go, oh, well, I want this. And then, and it kind of just unfolds, and all of these creative ideas of, this is where I want my life to be and what I want it to look like. It starts to unlock and unleash within us if we allow ourselves to enter into that question.
Absolutely.
I think as well, the way we get to frame it, I believe one of the dangers with setting a vision or setting goals is we stay at this level of, I want this. I want doesn't guarantee that we're going to do anything. I can want a new car, and I can sit back here for 5 years and want the new car and do nothing about it. I can want my health to change or my relationship to change, but it stays at this very surface level of I want. When we
Yeah.
go deeper and we start to frame it as if we're living it, like
Yep.
we do with our clients, and you
Yep.
engage on an emotional level,
Hmm.
that engagement is, oh, I want that feeling to be my
Yep.
reality. I'm going
Yep.
to go and do something about that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Which will be the second point, right?
Yeah.
Hey, legend, if you're getting value from this podcast, then you're going to love our Empowered Man 7-day challenge. Inside, we've taken some of the best content our clients invest thousands of dollars for to change their lives, and we've given it to you in the course of 7 days. This challenge is worth over $3,000, and you can get it for $37, 97% off. Inside, we'll teach you how to fix your marriage and relationships and reconnect with your partner, your kids, your wife. We will teach you how to take back your time, how to take back your power, get into powerful routines, and how to take control of your life. Take control of your mind, take control of your business, take control of your health, take control of your wealth. Sounds too good to be true, but there's a complete money back guarantee. So if you're enjoying this podcast, go to elitebusinessman.com/challenge. That's elitebusinessman.com/challenge. It's going to be in the call notes as well, and you'll be able to register for this challenge that will completely change your life. So to achieve any goal or vision, we need to know what we want.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds so simple. It's like, what do you want? Do you want a Lamborghini? Do you want a car? And write everything down that you want, but then taking it a step further is like, why do you want that? Because you might realize that Lamborghini you want, the thing you think is going to give you purpose, it's not actually what you want. It's because you want to be perceived a certain way. What you want is freedom. You want peace. You want time. You want to wake up to your wife and get her to look at you with desire. You want your kids to look up to you. But we don't ask these questions. The first step is like, what do I want? And getting really clarity on exactly what you want in 3 key areas: your health, wealth, and relationships. The second question then is like, why do I want it? Why is this important to me? Why is this a must? Why now? Those are the questions you get to ask yourself to achieve goals. If you're struggling with procrastination, mental masturbation, if you put things off, procrastinate, you got to ask yourself, what do I want? Why do I want it? And go deeper with the why. Why is it a must? Why is it important to me? Why now? And what would it be worth to me if I achieve it? So now you've got what you want, but you've now attached some emotion to it. It's like, why do I want it? How does it benefit me? That's the second step. And that gives us a little bit of a framework to see what we want. The second step then, the next phase of this, is actually embedding this in your body. And a lot of busy men and successful men, they don't make time for this. They're too busy, right? But if you're too busy and you don't have enough time, are you living with your purpose? Are you living in your vision? If you can't even spend time with your kids and family and wife, is that the vision and purpose you want? This is why we feel lost, because we're like, what's the point of working so fucking hard? I don't have the life I want. I feel this all the time as a business owner. As a business owner, I'm constantly thinking, what the fuck am I doing here? I'm investing all this time and energy. I'm away from my family. I'm sacrificing my life for what? A minimum wage while the business grows and everyone else gets paid. Like, you're an employee, you know what it's like. I pay you, I pay everyone else. I'm like, what's the fucking point, right? You got to have that vision, because that's the point. You got to have that vision. And why am I doing this? Because I want to help people. I want to achieve. The next step then is embedding it into your body, right? So it's not enough to just want something and to say why you want it. The next step is you want to feel it as if you've already got it. And you change that I want to I will. There's a difference between saying you want something and saying you will have something. When you say you want to be a better man for your family, you want to make more money, you want to be successful, you still give yourself an opening not to do it.
Yeah.
Whereas if you say, I will make that $1 million, I will fix my marriage, I will, it's going to have to happen. And if it doesn't, you're out of alignment with your word. So this helped me a lot last year. What I did was I would close my eyes every morning. Before I started my day, I'd follow our morning routine. We teach this in the Empowered Man. As a matter of fact, it's in our 7-day challenge. The link will be in the show notes. But I'd close my eyes and I'd breathe for about 10 minutes. And I'd do these deep breaths, right? One of the breathing techniques. And then at the end of the breathing technique, I'd do a breath hold. And I'd just hold my breath. I wouldn't breathe. And while my eyes were closed, I would visualize 3 things. And I think we talked about this in a previous podcast. I would visualize making $100,000 in 1 month in my business. So I would see, that's what I wanted. I would see my bank balance of 100 grand, and I would see the money in my account, and I would see the clients that came with that, and I would feel that pride within my body. The second thing I would do is I would visualize my wedding. So I'd go back to my wedding day. I'd like see it clearly. I'd feel the tears coming out of my eyes. We have talked about this, I remember. And I'd see my wife walking down the aisle. And the third thing I'd visualize is my daughter being born and holding her. Right. So I had this really clear vision and I could feel it and I could see it. And our business 3x'd in like 3 months. Now, the third piece of today's call is why that happened. It's not enough to know what you want and why you want it and say, I will get it. It's not enough to just feel it and visualize it. You got to do something about it. But because I'd visualized it every single day, I could see it clearly. I could feel it. I could feel the pride, the love, the joy. Now it was a lot easier to take action when life threw shit at me. Because life's so fucking challenging, right? Now I achieved those goals in 3 months. Obviously there was a lot of action involved. The problem is though, as soon as I achieved those goals, I didn't set a new vision. And that's what caused me to go down a 6-month spiral of like suicidality and depression because I achieved everything I wanted. I thought that would make me happy. It didn't. It was about who I became, not what I achieved. And I didn't set a new vision. This was a blind spot for me.
Yeah.
I think a lot of successful men go through this. You know, they have these goals to achieve more, make money. That's their purpose. And then when they hit it, because a lot of guys do, they're like, what now? You know what I mean? Why do you think that is? Why does that happen?
I think the obvious one for me is we get the vision. We find out what we want, why we want it, what life's going to be like when we've got it. We start to see it and visualize. I love what you shared about closing your eyes and picturing that. I record my vision and I listen to it, and that I'm quite auditory. And then I think where a lot of guys get stumped is like, yes, I've got the goal of what I want. I can see it, I can feel it, but now I don't know what to do. I don't know how to get there.
Yep.
And it trips so many people up every time. Got the emotional engagement. I know I want to do something, but I have no idea what to do.
Yeah. There's a lack of belief.
Lack of belief.
It's like, I want the Lamborghini, but am I actually going to get it? Like for me, this happens all the time with our marketing. I'm like, I want to grow this business, but all the evidence shows that it doesn't work. And like, I'm focusing on that. And if there's a shred of doubt, you're going to take less action. So the first step to achieving any goal and having a purpose as a man and having direction and feeling whole, not empty, and not having a void, but thriving instead of surviving, is you've got to have a clear vision. What do I want? Why do I want it? Why is it important to me? Why now? Why is it a must? What would it be worth to me? The second step is you got to feel it in your body. You got to be able to close your eyes and see it as if it's already happened. And that's going to build up the emotion within you. And the third step is we've got to take action.
Yeah.
Manifestation and like thinking about what you want doesn't fucking work. It does attract it to you. It does open opportunities and let you see different avenues of achieving it. But the third and final thing you got to do is ask yourself, how? I know what I want. I can see it clearly. I can feel it. It's real. Even though it's not real today, it's real in the future. What am I going to do about it? What can I take action on? How can I move forward towards those goals? And it's not just about what you do. It's about who you become. Who am I when I achieve this vision? It's about doing and being.
Yeah.
So if we put this into a framework, like, you know, the framework, you share it with the guys. Where are we now? What's the framework of the 4 areas we need to get clarity on to take action on?
So getting really clear, clarity. What is it? What do I get to commit to in order to get there?
Where am I now?
Where am I now? What gets to happen?
Yeah.
And the third one.
What's holding me back, right? It's like, where am I now? Where do I want to go? The vision. Yeah. So this is the vision. Great. We've got a vision, but like, where are we now? Because like, if we're not at the vision, there's obviously a gap. So what's the gap? Yeah. Like, what's holding me back? You know? Because by definition, if you're not where you want to be in life, like if you don't feel like you have purpose, you don't feel like you have direction, that means you're here at point A. You're starting off somewhere. That's the point. I don't have direction. I don't have vision. I have purpose. That also means there's a point B. And that point B is you got vision, you got purpose. So if you got where you are now and where you want to go, there is a gap. And in that gap, there are things holding us back. Maybe you don't know what to do to have that vision. Maybe you don't know where to start. Maybe you have fears and limiting beliefs. My wife is like this. She wants to start a business. My wife, Rosie, wants to start a business. She wants to be successful. She wants to have the house on the hill like the influencers she follows. She knows what the vision is. She's excited about it. But then she is over here where she hasn't even started yet. And there is a roadblock holding her back, and that is fear. It's like fear of failure, fear of the unknown, fear of if I'm good enough to achieve this. And that fear keeps her stuck from taking action. But if she can clearly see the vision and she knows she's going to achieve it, she's going to do that action anyway, despite how scary it is.
Yeah.
But there are things holding you back. You got to get clarity on them. And the final step is like taking action.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, cool. I've got this vision. I know what I want and why I want it. I know what it feels like. What am I going to do about it? I'm going to work out more. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I don't know what to do. Cool. Let's figure it out.
Yeah.
And then what you take action on has to go around the things that are holding you back, the limiting beliefs, the fears. Like if you know there's something holding you back, what are you going to do about it? You know? And the only way to find purpose and direction is to sit down and create purpose and direction.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you don't just wake up one morning going, yeah, I found my purpose. It's like, what do I want? Why do I want it? And if you can feel that every day, you will take the right actions. It doesn't freestyle though. You got to actually like create a plan. So how do people create a plan? What's the process? Like, how do you create a plan to achieve your goals and have a vision and have a purpose and achieve it? What would you do?
Yeah. Well, once everything, I've got everything written out and I know what I'm achieving, why, I can see it, I can feel it. What's one thing? Like I look, if it's, losing 20 kilos. Okay, what's one thing that I'm focusing on this week in order to start moving towards that direction? Not to have lost 20 kilos by the end of the week, but to start moving in that direction. And I think this is where a lot of guys get tripped up because they're like, oh, I want it to happen quicker than that. But one of the things we get to commit to with our goals and vision is the long game, understanding that we've gone through the motions before of cramming everything in straight away and then not doing anything because we get overwhelmed. But it's like, what's the one thing that I'm doing today? And then what am I going to layer on top of that? And then that, and then that, and keep on moving towards that vision, that end result of losing 20 kilos. So I think there's some strategic things we can do. What's the one thing that I'm focusing on today or this week? But also I think as well, who do I need in my corner to help me work through those roadblocks that are there? But also who do I need in my corner to help me work through the blind spots that I don't even know are there, that I don't even know are holding me back?
Yeah.
Because it can become like we're just wearing these rose-colored glasses and we don't see the things behind us, like blind spots when you change lanes on the road we've talked about before without checking your blind spot.
Yeah.
It's those things that trip us up each time that we don't know we're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and that's why we need coaches. That's why everyone needs a coach. Like everyone, every football player, every tennis star, every successful business owner, they have coaches. Yet so many modern day men don't understand the value of coaching. I saw a client on Facebook yesterday. He posted his weekly bills and he spends $1,700 a week to live, to survive. That's just to survive essentials, food, rent, etc. And $450 of that is coaching. And a portion of that is what he pays us. He pays us, I think $250 a week, something like that for one of our programs. And all these comments on that post were like, 450 on coaching. Are you mad? And I love his response. He said, it's been the most valuable thing I do. It's a necessity. It's a must. But so many people look at that. They're like 20 grand a year on coaching and say, yeah, but that could make him $1 million a year and get him closer to his vision. Because look, if you're lacking purpose or direction or vision in your life, or if you're not achieving your goals in your business or wealth or relationships or health, then there are 3 gaps. There's either a skill set gap, you're not doing the right things. There's either a knowledge gap, you don't know what to do, or there's a character trait gap, you haven't become the person who's going to achieve it. So what's the fastest way to fill a skill set, knowledge, or character trait gap is to invest in people who have done it, who can teach you and speed up the process.
100%.
As men, it's like, oh, I'm going to spend money on myself, but we'll happily go and buy a $40,000 car. We'll happily spend $2,000 on our phones.
Yeah.
Or like 20 grand a year on alcohol or cigarettes. It's fucking insane, man. And then we wonder why men have lost purpose, right? Yeah. If you think about purpose as like this phone, if this phone was purpose and every year that you don't upgrade it, the purpose gets lower and lower and lower, It's like men. If you upgrade your phone every year, it's got purpose. It's got direction. It's the same as us. We don't upgrade ourselves. We don't do anything for ourselves.
Yeah.
It's not all men. If you're listening to this podcast, you probably do. Probably invest in yourself. Maybe you've worked with us. If you haven't, go check out the links down below. But it really is about taking action and, investing in yourself and having someone in your corner.
Yeah.
It really is. So I think a lot of men, they're lacking this vision and purpose because they haven't actually dove deep enough to find it. We teach this in the Empowered Man. I've got my North Star here. Grab it. This is 3 pages of content. If you can't see me, it's on the YouTube video. Like, I've written down, I have a lean athletic body. I'm training every single day. I look and feel healthy. I'm getting fitter, stronger, and healthier every month. There's more to it here. I'm eating well. I have crystal clarity on what I want. My wife and I are falling in love over and over again. I can clearly see my vision because I've written it down. It's a North Star. It's a vision statement, right? And I think the final thing I would add, which you could probably attest to, is if you're a man listening to this and you this makes sense, but you feel like you're still lacking vision and purpose and clarity and direction, you feel empty, you feel lost, you feel confused. Like, your real purpose in my eyes as a man is to lead. It's to lead your children. Your real purpose as a man is to be a leader for your children, your wife, your family, your friends, and to show them what an example of a king is, a man who does whatever it needs to be done. I got up this morning, went to CrossFit, didn't feel like doing it. I did it anyway. I don't want to work every day. Did it anyway. Sometimes I feel depressed and I don't like the man staring back at me. When you get up and do it anyway, that's the purpose and the vision. Because guess what? When you show up as a man, even when you don't feel like it, when you lead your loved ones and do the hard shit despite not wanting to, you show your children and you show your wife what leadership is. And then they're going to go through challenges in life. But guess what? As a father, as a husband, as a man, you've shown them that even though it gets challenging because it's fucking hard, you do shit anyway. That's the purpose of your life as a man. So if you're struggling with purpose, attach it to the people you love.
Yeah.
I feel lost and confused. Cool. Well, maybe my purpose is to overcome having no purpose and feeling lost and confused and doing shit anyway so I can show my family what a leader's like.
Yeah.
But some men will listen to that and go, oh, that's really hard though. It's like, yeah, it's the hardest fucking thing you'll ever do. I feel like you're going to say something as well. You're going to add something in there.
I was just going to say that's the point where we disconnect our taking action from how we feel. Like, how often do we allow how we feel? Because we don't always wake up, you might be surprised, but we don't always wake up every day and feel like going to CrossFit, going to the gym, prepping our food, eating well. Sometimes we don't feel like it. But when we allow our feelings to dictate our level of action, it's going to rob us every single day. And so we get to understand that our feelings are not facts. They're signs and things we get to listen to, but we allow them to inform our level of taking action. Well, I don't feel like it today, but because I don't feel like it, I'm going to train extra hard today. And on the other side of that, I'm going to feel amazing.
Yes.
It's really understanding that if we always do what we've always done, listening to our feelings and not taking action, then we'll always get what we've always had.
Exactly. And that's where the disconnection comes from. If you don't have something pulling you towards it and you're focusing on what you don't want and the negative feelings, of course you're not going to take action. Yeah. But the only way to feel good in life is to take action. It doesn't fall into your lap.
Yeah.
The human brain is wired for survival, not happiness. So sometimes we just survive, but that's not thriving. There's a difference. I really want to drive this point home and add it to market to it so we can clip it up. Your feelings aren't facts. I'm not saying you can't have feelings. You're allowed to be depressed. You're allowed to be angry. You're allowed to be stressed as a man. You're allowed to feel things. But instead of feeling things and using that as an excuse for why you have no direction or purpose, why you procrastinate, why you don't go to the gym, why you yell at your wife, take those feelings, acknowledge them, and go, you know what? I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling down. I feel like not getting out of bed, and do it anyway. And when you take action on things, despite your negative feelings, you build power and you take control. And ironically enough, that is how you turn negative feelings into powerful feelings. I don't feel like getting out of bed. I go to CrossFit anyway. I do it. Guess what? Now I feel proud of myself. It's still not a fact. Your feelings aren't facts. The facts are done in the things you do. You can think and feel all you want. Life is about what you do and who you become. So take some fucking action. And that's how you achieve your goals as a man. That's how you have a vision. That's how you have purpose. It's not easy. right?
Yeah.
But there is a framework. Step one, ask yourself today, what do I want? What do I want in my health? What do I want in my wealth? What do I want in my relationships? As a matter of fact, I'll put in the show notes down below an example of my North Star. It's 3 pages long. You can just copy and paste it as a Google Doc. What do I want? Why do I want it? Why is it important to me? Why is it a must? Why now? What will it be worth to me? So now you have what you want, and then you get to frame it as I will. I want a Lamborghini. I will have a Lamborghini. I want my family to be happy again. My family will be happy again.
Yeah.
Then try this exercise. Close your eyes. Take 5 deep breaths. You can pause the video, do 4 more breaths, pause the audio, and just try and visualize what you want. Try and see yourself getting into that car. Try and see that money in your bank account. Try and see your children smiling at you because they're proud of you, and feel it as if it's already happened. And step 3, ask yourself, what am I going to do about it? How can I achieve that? What will I take action on to propel me towards my goals without focusing on what I don't want? And if you commit to taking action on that stuff, you won't have time to focus on how hard it is. You won't have time to focus on the problems. One of my favorite quotes, and I'll butcher it here, is have a vision so powerful, you don't need a crisis to take action. For so many years in my life as a man, I've needed a crisis in my business or my relationship to change. My wife leaves. Oh, let me fix it. My bank balance is too low. Oh, let me make more money. Have a vision so powerful, you don't need a crisis to take action. And that's the powerful word there, is take action. What do I need to do? Who do I need to become? But also, who can I have in my corner supporting me? How can I fill my blind spots? These are all questions, and powerful questions get powerful answers. Have a vision, see it and feel it by closing your eyes and going into it. And then ask yourself, what can I take action on today? One thing a day to move forward. And my friend, that is how you have purpose. Attach it to your loved ones and work on it. But if you're just sitting here hoping for purpose to hit you in the face, you're in for a rude awakening, man, because no one's coming to save you. It's the reality of life. Anything you want to add before we finish up, brother?
Lots, but no, I think that the final thing, just to reiterate what you just said, so often we put our vision on the back burner, and it takes a relationship breakdown, or it takes so many people that I know, they've got to this midlife age or a bit further on, and they get this diagnosis, and that causes them to change, and they might change a little bit, but so many years have been wasted in sickness and disconnected from themselves. And it takes that diagnosis. Sometimes it's too late, because we keep the vision on the back burner. We get to bring that forward. We get to turn up the heat, and we get to take action. Yeah.
It's so hard to have purpose without a vision.
Yeah.
Like how can you have a purpose if you can't see what your purpose is? How do you see? Vision, 2020 vision, right?
Yeah.
So if you can see your purpose, if you can see what you want and why you want it, and if you can feel it, yeah, you're right. It does really come true. So guys, I hope you got some value from that. If you did, make sure you check out the call notes down below, and make sure you give this a thumbs up on YouTube if you're watching it. Subscribe to the channel. If you're listening to it, make sure you rate us 5 stars. And I'd love to hear any feedback from you guys. So hope you enjoyed that. Have an amazing day, and we'll see you for the next episode of the Empowered Man podcast. Hey, brother, I hope you got a ton of value from that podcast. If you would like to work with us personally and get some of the best content we ever launched for our clients who invested thousands of dollars, then go and complete our 7-day Empowered Man Challenge. This mission will completely transform your life. If it doesn't, you won't have to pay a cent. It's only $37, and it is game-changing if you want to take back control. So if you want to find balance between business, family, and life, if you want the relationship, the health, the wealth that you deserve, then go to elitebusinessman.com/challenge. That's elitebusinessman.com/challenge, and take up this challenge to take back control of your life.